A grim milestone in the Middle East, as exactly 1 month ago today, Hamas staged a deadly surprise attack on Israel. Many here in Canada continue to remember the lives lost in that attack, including Yael Bendat-Appell, whose cousin was among those killed. Yael joins us this morning. Hello to you, Yael, and I am so sorry for your family's loss. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about your cousin.
Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, I'm happy to tell you about Adi. She was Israeli and a Canadian citizen. She was 33 years old. She was a wife and a mother. She had an almost 4-year-old son and a 4-month-old son. She was beautiful and smart and strong and calm. She had studied chemical engineering and desert farming sciences. She was extremely accomplished. She was a dancer. She was just a kind, good person.
We're looking at her photo right now, just a beautiful smile. What a tragedy for your family. I wonder if you can tell us about where you were when you first heard about the October 7th attack.
Sure. So as you know, it was a Saturday, which is Shabbat for the Jewish community. It's a time where typically I don't use electronics or phone. It's a day where we try to sort of go internal and find joy and happiness and holiness. So we try to avoid some of those trappings of day-to-day life. But as I do keep my phone on in case of emergencies, and early on Saturday morning, I started receiving text messages from my father, who alerted us to the attack that had transpired. We were in real time finding out what was going on. My father was in touch with Adi's father, who actually lives in Jerusalem, but was staying on Adi's kibbutz Holit with her to visit for the holiday. And we knew very quickly that no one had heard from Adi in quite some time. Adi had been sheltering in her safe room, the safe room of her kibbutz, with her 2 young boys. Her husband had been out on a morning hike, so he was not home when the attack transpired. Adi had told via text her father not to come over. She was emphatic. She saved his life by telling him he was in another safe room in the home he was staying at, and she said, "Do not come out of the safe room." And she ended up saving his life, not her own. So what we found out as the hours passed was that no one had heard from her. We found out that her 2 boys were found on the border of Gaza. They had been taken.
Oh my goodness.
We all assumed at that point that she had been taken hostage because we knew that many had. We know now that there are about 242 hostages still in Gaza. We absolutely demand that they be released now. For a number of days, we believe that she had been taken hostage. What we learned after the fact was that her 2 boys had been given to a neighbor and were used as human shields for the terrorists to get out of the kibbutz. They were taken to Gaza, and for some reason they were left there. They were used in some sort of propaganda video stating that they were being released as an act of goodwill, with their mother, but that was not true. What we found out a few days later is that Adi had been murdered. She had been shot. Her body had been stuffed under a bed in her home. And in fact, her body had been booby-trapped with grenades so that if anyone had come to find her, they would also have been killed. It's really a miracle that her father, who did come searching for her eventually, did not find her because she was under so much rubble. But the miracle is that her 2 sons are alive. They've since been reunited with their father. The 4-year-old had a gunshot wound to his leg. He's undergone medical treatment. The baby was covered with black soot from the fire and the gunshots all around him. Thank God the boys are healthy, but they were in the room. They witnessed their mother's murder.
Oh,
so, yeah.
This is nothing that any family should go through. It must also be particularly difficult to be mourning your family member who's lost and knowing what her children and her husband have gone through while the conflict is still underway. You're seeing these images of war constantly. I can't imagine how difficult this must be for you and your family.
Yeah, I think that what's been experienced pervasively by Jewish people around the world is that there was almost no time to grieve because
Right.
the experience was shifted so quickly into the war, which is a just war. It's a war to defend Israel against the attack by terrorists who want to see the elimination of Israel. And also the anti-Semitism that we're experiencing across North America and Europe. It's been very trying times, and all this with the context of the hostages that are in Gaza. When we think about the fact that there are 30 children and there are elderly people and there are men and women who are being held, it is it devastates us, it shatters us, and we feel quite. It's like the earth beneath us has shifted. The reality has shifted. All of the paradigms have shifted. We are in a very, very dark time right now, and there's a lot of trying to just focus on the good, on believing in our right to exist in Israel as Jewish people, that Israel has a right to defend itself. We are desperately sad for the loss of all innocent civilians, and yet Israel is being faced with an enemy that wants to wipe it off the face of the earth, and it is desperately in need of defense.
I appreciate you telling us about your cousin this morning. And, you know, something we've been talking about here in the newsroom today is it's been 1 month. It's
1 month. Yeah.
I'm so sorry for your loss, and I certainly wish the best to your family who are still grieving right now. Thank you for sharing your story with us this morning.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I appreciate it.